Welcome to the Evolution Magazine Live series. It is Thursday, July 22nd, year 2021. And tonight we are broadcasting live from Happy Rock Farms in Kansas City, Missouri. Tonight we ask, what are you watering your plants with? What about the water for you and your family? Tonight we learn about the importance of purified water for all living things, with special guests Joe Shum, Brian Buenger, and Krystal Jacoby of Culligan Water, with our host tonight, Eric McSwain. Our show will get underway in just a few moments, but first, a word from our sponsors. The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association has been our longest-running show sponsor, while providing quality education over many topics in partnership with area cannabis professionals. MCIA is dedicated to a free cannabis market to create supplies and prices that are patient-friendly, with initiatives to support adult-use cannabis, to protect home growers' rights, and expand the caregiving program. Go to MOCIA.org to learn about memberships, to learn about their certified caregiving program, and learn how to get involved. Thank you, MCIA, for being a show sponsor.
Getting a medical marijuana patient recommendation just got easier with Elevate Holistics. Using HIPAA-compliant telemedicine software, Elevate Holistics enables patients like you to receive medical marijuana recommendations from the comfort of their own homes. Here's how it works. First, visit elevate-holistics.com to book your appointment using our online schedule. Then complete the intake forms in our confirmation email. Finally, visit with the doctor using the link in your confirmation email. It's that simple. Book an appointment today.
Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com.
Hello and welcome to the Evolution Live series here from Happy Rock Farms, and we have an amazing show for you guys tonight. It's all about the importance of water. Are you watering yourself friendly? Are you watering your plants friendly? But Culligan Water has it all figured out. We're going to bring them into the show here shortly. Before we do that, I want to say quick thanks to all of our sponsors. This is MCIA's show tonight, and they are our longest show-running sponsor, so thank you for putting this together. Also, Flora Farms. We had a show from there last week. That's on our Facebook page. Don't go there now, but after the show, you can go back and watch that show as well. We have 2 free gift cards we're giving away tonight as well from Flora Farms Dispensary. Tag a friend for that prize. Also, we have tons of other prizes from Elevate Holistics, a free certification there if you don't have your certification yet, or if you need your recertification. Tag a friend, tag yourself. That's the other giveaway. We also have 6 free femininity tests and 2 free potency tests from Green Precision Analytics. And then last, here's the big one. You ready for this? A free reverse osmosis system with install. So tag a friend or tag yourself. This is pretty awesome news. It's what the whole show is about tonight. What are you watering yourself with? What are you watering your plants with? Let's talk about the importance of making sure that's all dialed in. And don't forget, this is a question-driven show. So if you have questions, put them in the comments. James, our production guy with Level Up AV, will put a little side comment box up if you want to be anonymous. Is that right? Did I say that right? I think so. So there's lots of ways to participate in the show tonight. So please participate, be a part of this, ask questions. Without further ado, let's just give it on over to Eric McSwain with MCIA.
Thank you, Clay. Yeah. Thank you, Clay. Bringing it in strong as usual. My name is Eric McSwain, chairman of Missouri Cannabis Industry Association. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight, spending a little time with us. We're going to have a little sit down, a little chat. We're going to talk water, super important. Like, it's everywhere. It's in us. We got to have it. I'm here with Krystal.
Yes. Hello. Right. Yes, Krystal the Pistol. Hey, everybody.
She's here, and we got Joe over here on Zoom. How you doing tonight, Joe?
I'm doing fantastic, Eric. Thanks for having us on. This is a great opportunity. We certainly appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things we don't talk about. Our roots here, pun intended, on the show have to do with growing, right? So,
absolutely.
And not just growing a plant, but a healthy human being in a lot of places. And I'm from the country with a K. I mean, we don't spell much out there. And some of the water that we've got out there, I'm lucky. I've got pretty good water, but not everybody is. It can be hit and miss, water. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. We got to know about it. So, tell me a little bit about GrowFlow, Joe.
All right. Well, GrowFlow, we're Culligan first and foremost. So that, we do all kinds of water treatment from, the most basic boiler treatment to pharmaceuticals, hospitals, most of the big accounts here in Kansas City that we take care of from top to bottom. So most people don't realize where water treatment is, but as I drive around the city with my kids, and I'm always amazed to see we got stuff there, we got stuff there, we got stuff there for water treatment. So that's where we started. And then of course, as the cannabis industry has grown, we had seen an opportunity there because we would go out on installs and people would say, hey, we want this system and we want to go out and visit, and all of a sudden we get out there to do this install, and it was like, hey, I need you to come down to my basement to put it in here. So
elbow grabs, cool. Okay,
pretty cool. So as we looked more and more into it, we thought, we want to be part of this too. We've always, as Krystal and Jonathan and myself, we're always a big proponent of cannabis, and we want to help promote the industry as well. So we thought we would, put a label out there, and that's where we came up with the GrowFlow, and say, hey, we want to do this, but we want to put another name out there that is specifically for the cannabis. I say everybody. I like to think everybody knows Culligan, but it's kind of a name that's older. Culligan's been around since the 50s. Basically, we're the inventors of the water softener as we know it today, and we just wanted to put something out there that was specifically for the cannabis industry, and that's how the GrowFlow logo came out, or the name came out. And we're so excited about it. It's so fun right now. Every day is just like something more exciting, as Krystal knows that opportunities are all over the place, and it's fun to see the industry grow, and we just want to be part of it.
Yep. I think it makes sense. I mean, the nature of the solution, you got to have it. You got to have quality water. You at least got to know what's in your water and be able to make some decisions about it. I will say though, Joe, that we don't like the word water softener too much on this particular show. Pro tip for folks: water softeners are no
Don't
bueno
use that.
for the plants.
That's not the answer.
No.
And certainly, and part of this too, and actually, most of our job as we've come to find out as I've been in the business for 20 years is that it's education, right? Most people think you got water coming out of the tap, it's clean, it smells good, it doesn't necessarily taste bad, but they don't know what it's made up of. And so that is ultimately the heart of our business, is that we want to educate people and help them understand that just because your water comes out of the tap clean and visually clear doesn't necessarily mean that it is pure. And that's, so yes, you're absolutely right. I will say, don't use a water softener. That's always been from the beginning of my time in the business. The water softener is not for watering any plant. The water softener in our application would be a pre-treatment solution before we get to the next process of making it pure. So yes, tip for all: water softeners not for growing plants.
That's right. I love it. So Krystal,
Yeah.
tell me about your role. Tell me, are you part of this sort of education task force?
Yeah, so that's been my goal. We lived in South Africa for a while, and so water is super important to us after not having anything to drink for a long time. And cannabis has always been in my heart. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the cannabis industry.
There's a story here.
Yeah. So
share
I
if
had
you like.
I had major food allergies. I was like 103 pounds and dropping, and I stopped weighing myself. And I went to my doctor, and he's like, so you could have two things you can do. You can get medication that's going to cause the same issues, or you can try medical marijuana. And I lived in Las Vegas. I was one of the first people to get my card, and it was not for something that was normally given out for. So I was very blessed, and so that's where I fell in love. And I worked with the industry out there, but I remember going to Joe and Brian. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the best industry, the best people you'll ever meet. You have to get involved in this. And I'm like, that's what I want to focus on. So Culligan picked me up, and now we have GrowFlow, and I wouldn't go back. It's awesome.
Yeah, Krystal was a big player in the GrowFlow name. So she came to us as a Culligan girl, and we soon realized that she's going to be a GrowFlow girl for sure.
Yep.
So she's fantastic.
Awesome. And we'll need to see those logos all around here in just a minute.
Right.
Absolutely. I think Krystal,
like
you got
it.
one on your shirt, right?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah, my hair's covering it up, but yes, I do.
Yeah. We should have sported a few more things. I had a bunch of friends with me. We did a boys trip last weekend, and all of them took off with all of my hats. So they'll be spreading them to the East Coast from New York to San Francisco. So I was excited about that, but sadly, they took my personal hat too.
That's right. Now, do you guys
swag goes quick?
Do you guys cover all the metro areas? I mean, how far out are you going to go? I live pretty far out. How's that work?
So, as I tell Krystal and Jonathan, the rest of our team is, we certainly, as we're getting into it, we want to play in our own backyard first, right? We want to make sure that we know everybody in the industry, that we're doing everything that we can to partner with them, to be, their advisor, to help them with their water treatment. But at the end of the day, yes, our ultimate goal is to break outside of just the metro area. Culligan, as we have Culligan as our mother company, they kind of hold us back a little bit for boundaries, but that's where also the GrowFlow logo will let us bust past that. So again, we're new to it, and we want to help everybody in our backyard first. But yes, our ultimate goal is to break outside from east to west to wherever anybody wants to grow, we're at.
That's right. Yeah. So you need to start calling Culligan and asking for it wherever you are in Missouri or Kansas. Go ask for GrowFlow, guys. Just do it, because then that's how Joe gets a little extra stick to spread out of the region, maybe. So let's help him out. But Joe, I got questions. Krystal, maybe you can answer them. I get sketchy with people being around my grow room and knowing where it is, and we're still talking about something here that has value, right? It's not, like my silverware on my counter and the
Yeah.
junk in my basement
Yeah.
kind of value, right?
Yeah.
So
And your family's there and everything. Yeah.
so what do you have maybe a non-disclosure or confidentiality? How's that work?
Yeah, I
when
always
somebody calls.
I always say in Vegas, what is said to me stays with me, and I always try to keep that true. So we also have non-disclosures that we can sign and cover you guys, and we don't even have to see your grow. Like that is, I understand what the law is. I don't want to like step on any toes, but yeah,
Sure.
just seeing where the water source is at and letting our guys come out and install, and they don't talk to anybody about it. It's kind of a hush hush thing because that's to protect your privacy. So
Right.
it's really important. Yeah.
Right. No,
Absolutely, and that's a lot of our business. As I
Yep.
kind of briefed on at the beginning, we're in the pharmaceutical industries. We see a lot of things, of course, that I'm not talking about. But yeah, we absolutely understand the environment that we're in, and certainly respect everyone's privacy and no one's here. Yeah, absolutely. All my guys know that. Hey, what happens at work stays at work.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And if I wanted them to wear a lab coat and booties to come in, would
I
they
can
do
make
it?
that happen. Yes, I can make that
Absolutely.
happen.
I love
Again,
it.
as we talk about these interviews, it's so fun because it's totally what we do. We go into the laboratories, we go into the sterile processing. So you would be, all the time. My guys are in bunny suits with face masks, and so if that's what we need to do, then we're more than happy to oblige by the house rules.
I understand. And that's good. That's important to me as a grower. There's certain things I have to do, and to
Yeah.
have professionals engaged to help out, that can be pretty beneficial too. Now, but I'm a handyman. Can we buy off the shelf yet? Is that going to be a thing ever? I got to ask, man.
It may, as us in our office and our business, what we pride ourselves a lot in is we do what other people don't, and certainly that possibility may be there that we can sell stuff off the shelf, but it's more important to us to get out there to see what your water conditions are and what your needs are so that we can deliver the correct solution. Now, some guys might have it figured out, and that's maybe where that niche is at. But right now, especially when we're in our backyard, where we have a team, my office has about 50 employees. So we have the power to be out there. We want to test your water and make sure that we're bringing the solution that you need. Asking about quality, asking about flow rates, asking about, or particularly checking your water conditions coming in. Because I think that's where, again, education comes in, and most people fail is they'll buy something, but they don't realize that, hey, that might work instantly, great, but within, weeks to months or whatever it is, it's going to completely fail. I see it all the time. So in my business, we adopt so many customers because they buy something online, they buy something from someplace because it was cheaper or whatever the case was. And then they call us because the thing's busted, it doesn't work, it's not doing what it promised, and we can explain why it's not doing that and provide a solution that does fix that problem.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think, I know I've struggled. I bought something and, I just didn't get it quite right. And, every situation's different, right? Let's talk about that for a second. I know you have experience there. In my area in central Missouri on the Thomas Hill water system, we got pretty decent water, but it's pretty heavy. It's got 400 parts per million, 350 parts per million in it.
Okay.
A lot of that's calcium, magnesium, so that's not bad for plants. Not all that bad for me, but it's really bad for plumbing. It's really bad for my dishwasher. It's really bad for these other things that maybe I'd need. Now, is an evaluation of water a service that you would provide, sort of?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'll get Krystal, you call us today and you say, Grow Flow, I'm interested in you coming out. You're going to see the girl sitting to your right there. She's going to be the one to come out. She'll test your water. She'll figure out what's in your water. We would basically look at it from, do we know where the source water comes from? A lot of folks are on wells in the rural area. We can, if you're in, Independence or whatever city you're in, we have access. We pull water samples every day. So we have a library full of water samples. So knowing your source water is critical because, again, you might put a solution in there and you're like, that's the answer. And instantly it's brown. All of a sudden the thing's failed and you're back to where you started. And the sad thing is a lot of people don't know until something bad happens, so you have your girls growing, and life looked good when you hook this thing up, and you're going, what the heck's happening? And then to come to find out it's your water treatment equipment that's failed you along the way. But again, you don't notice because water's clean, water's clear, looks good, smells good, doesn't seem to be a problem. But what you're not seeing is all those dissolved minerals, the calcium, magnesium, certainly not bad ones, but believe me, there's way more in the water than that.
Especially those evil chloramines and all that stuff. It'd be good to remove those. I have a question though. I think I just heard it from a birdie. Who in the Kansas City Metro has the best water?
So I think Joe's probably done more testing on this than me, but I always hear that Independence has the best water, but going out and doing my tests, I don't always see that, but you can look it up yourself. There's actually a website you can go to. It's public knowledge. It's by a third party. What is it again, Joe? Is it the EWP.org?
Before we get to the closure, I'll give you the exact initials, but it's EWG, I believe. It's you just basically put your zip code in. It'll give you the options of who's your water provider in that area. You'll pick that one, and then they've done the research. All of this stuff is public knowledge. Every municipality is required to do a water quality test every year, and they have to post it. So this database, much like Zillow, accesses that information, extracts it onto one nice format for us all to read. But I think that everyone would be a little bit surprised to see what's in your water. There's a funny term that I kind of got into this business with, and I see it said all the time, not particularly this way, but solution, or the solution to pollution is dilution. So you can have about anything in the water, arsenic, chloroform, all of it's all there. It's just so diluted that it's not considered a problem. I'm a water snob, obviously, is that I don't let my kids drink tap water. We're drinking Culligan RO water all the time. So as you can imagine, a bunch of friends down here from old buddies debating this, you should put water quality in your control. Why would you leave it to the city to say, oh, well, that's fine? For them, certainly it's fine for most applications, processes, washing. To me, again, I debate that even, but I wouldn't leave. Why would you do that? Why would you leave that? You put other things in your house for protection, but your water being probably the biggest utility that comes through your house, why would you not take care of that yourself? Especially when it's not that far out of reach. You spend money on dishwashers, you could wash your hands, you could hand wash your stuff, you spend money on dishwasher. Why would you do that? So I'm passionate about it, I know, but there's no reason you could tell me you wouldn't put some kind of water treatment in your house. Especially when it comes to the girls, right?
And I'm familiar with that website, and I'm glad you brought it up, and we'll provide that for us because other people do need to know about it. And I use that too, but the problem is that they test that water, right? They do their tests a very specific way and probably at very specific test sites. And then between that test site and my mouth or my plants, my cannabis, is how much plumbing? And what else is going on around here?
Every house is different too.
That's why you come.
That's why we come out and test everything. We want to get it from the start, from the source, and then work it to exactly how you guys want it to be for whatever your application. But I say protect your whole house, not just your girls. Everybody's important. So good drinking water for your family, and then good water for your plants, whatever you're growing in. That's super important. So
and it's a fact.
Absolutely,
it's a fact. I'm a grower. Right? And because I don't use filter products, right? I don't treat that water. It's still possible to grow a good product that way, but it's hard on your soil. And so, I only get about a year and a half out of my soils unless I give them some special treatment or maybe flush them, but then you're really just starting from scratch again when you're talking about living soil, so what's the point? Anyway, but it's because of the water that I add in straight from the tap. So
what would make that water perfect for you?
I don't know.
So your soil would last longer?
I think it would last longer if we took out, everything but the calcium magnesium, because my plants like CalMag, so if if I could leave that, and that would probably be charcoal filter. We'd
Yep.
get most of that and still leave some good stuff behind. No?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not here. I mean, we don't want to tell anybody they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
You know, we're not. I'm not a professional cannabis grower. I'm learning. I love it. It's fantastic.
Right.
But if anybody wants to argue water, then I'll be happy to do that all day, because, you know, I sit here and I'm thinking like, okay, what does water look like coming from rain? So I've tested rainwater myself, and it's pretty darn pure. And so, you know, but isn't that where we kind of start in nature out here, and we want to simulate what's coming from nature and not necessarily what's coming from your wastewater reproduction plant, where we're taking, you know, waste and turning it back into drinking water. So, I mean, yeah, there's some in-depth conversations.
You got me. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't even have a response. I love it. I love it. What are some of the things you do find? I mean, whenever you go in, I mean, is it pretty wild? I mean, lead.
I'll talk about my Vegas people versus my Missouri people, because I want to keep it confidential. So what I've seen.
Wait, is Missouri better?
All right. You can go then.
So, better is a very subjective term, because there's a lot going on there.
She answered it right, Joe. Don't worry.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier. I think I told you my honest answer, so that's always good. But no, I mean, I've seen where people they just put on an RO system, and then it gets all gummed up because they didn't do a sediment filter. And this is on like city water that's supposed to be good, but it just gummed up everything. And so he was like, "What do I do, Krystal?" And I was like, "Get a sediment filter. We'll put it on and hook you up." But I mean, you have to know what's going on in your water. If you don't have your stuff set up right, it's not going to last you no matter how much you paid for it or how careful you are with it. You have to have everything set up so it works perfect for what's coming out of your tap. Right. Your neighbor might not have the same thing. So it is important to have people come out, test your water, see what's going on, and so your girls are happy.
What about the well water? What have you seen? Tell me a story.
Yeah, so I was actually down south. This was just for a regular house visit, and their water, I turned on the faucet, and this like black sludge, it looked like a slug, came out of the faucet. Smelled horrible, and we got them hooked up with a system where they can drink and shower in their homes. And you know, I mean, he grows tomatoes, but it's not, you know, it's the same thing, I guess. But he wanted special water for his plants, so he did the same kind of setup. So I always like to tell people, we can cover your plants too. Just tell me what you want, and we'll figure out how to make it happen. So
that's right.
Yeah, I have a catalog of a library of pictures of bad water situations, and I mean, it's disgusting. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
You know, bacteria. You know, iron's pretty bad culprit around here. You know, the sediment, like she said, you know, you get that in there, and it can really wreak some havoc. And you know, the problem is in the cannabis or the water world in general, is once the damage is done, it's hard to reverse. So people are often like, hey, you know, I got this. Obviously, you know, we'll cut a pipe open that's supposed to be a 1-inch pipe, and it's got a, you know, maybe an 1/8 of an inch hole running through it. They got this low pressure problem. Well, you know, we can fix the problem with the water, but the damage that's been done, you know, that's a matter of cutting plumbing out and repiping your whole entire house. So every day is a fun experience in the water world, because to this day, I tell Krystal the same thing. Is like, everybody wants to come in, learn everything, but 20 years of it, and we're still, I mean, I would say at least once a week we'll get a new something, whether it's, man, what is that? Or how do we fix this? And so it's always fun. It always keeps us on our toes. We work hard, and we're always enthusiastic about it because it's fun.
There you go. Wait until you get into more of these little home grows.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, most genius individuals I ever met in my life.
I agree.
Genius.
Yes.
I mean, I know what they're doing while they're having these good ideas, okay? And I got no problem with the medication. You got to medicate to do it. So somebody writes in and says that they watched a video earlier today on watering. Is it true that RO isn't ideal for living soil? And would it be better clean slate when brewing teas. So grower specific, I'll take this one. So RO isn't bad for living soil, but I would always do something like a tea. I would put stuff back in it. You might even think about a little CalMag off the shelf, because living soil really needs that extra calcium, that extra substrate. It needs some of these other things. It doesn't need the chloramine, doesn't need any of these other things that are in there, mostly the CalMag. So RO's fine. Yeah, RO water's fine. You might have to treat it up a little when you put microbials in it. It immediately makes an organic medium. So you're putting exactly what you want in there. That's what I would do.
Yeah, we again, Joe, not a growing expert, but we're learning a lot. And I sit here and say, hey, if the best guys are of course I have yet other people to meet, but in the general, that if these guys are doing this with RO, that's what's cleaning the water for the most part. I mean, that's the biggest critical component of getting the water clean. And our idea is we're not saying that, hey, use RO water, period, just to water the plants. What we're trying to say is purify the water using an RO and then rebuild it the way that you want it. So you're not leaving it subjective to the things that are in the water that you don't know about, and then you get rid of that stuff and then add what you want, like the CalMag. So we just want to start with a clean slate, because that's what I've seen the guys that are doing the bigger grows is say, hey, you strip it down to pure water and then put back the things you want in it. And so that I've been passionate to Krystal about that too. We're not saying that, hey, this is right and this is wrong. We're saying we're going to teach you how to get pure water, and you can make it what you want it to be and not leave it to those things that are unknown in the water.
Yep. Mystery sauce.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing you saw was the mystery sauce coming out of the.
So the worst thing I saw, but I think the most horrifying thing I saw was Kansas City city limits. They're on Kansas City water. They actually had to get a UV light put in from their water source from the city to their home, because there was bacteria in their water and they couldn't even drink or shower in it. And Kansas City did not help them with that. And that was really sad to see that you think you're on city water and it's great water, and then you can't even shower or drink it. So
and that's between here and there. That's after
There's
them, and that's why the city wouldn't help, because it's probably in the home plumbing. And it's very, very possible, just like you said, opening up those pipes and seeing what's in there. That's my number one wear and tear on equipment that uses water. Anything, it'll kill an ice maker so quick. But anyway, do you see fluoride here in the Kansas City area? And is that okay for people? I mean, what's the deal with that?
No, this is a debate out there too, right?
Okay.
So again, I'm not here to say that it's the better or the worse for your health wise, but we again in our wheelhouse, that dialysis is a huge part of our business, and fluoride absolutely is one of the worst things for dialysis. Chlorine, chloramines, and fluoride are essentially the worst things in there. So we do the same thing. We strip it down, clean it, make it pure, and then they of course add their acid bicarbonate back to the water to get it right for them. So it's interesting to me to see, we say, and I know that calcium, magnesium are good for the plants, and so most people, they take a TDS meter, they stick it in the water, an inexpensive instrument to purchase, but you're reading the TDS, but what that TDS is made out of, that's the question, right? So we say, hey, we want calcium, magnesium in the water, and I plug this probe in the water and it says I have 275 ppm. You like calcium and magnesium to what levels? We don't know. That meter doesn't tell us that. Only an analysis is going to tell us what those levels are at. That TDS is made up of elements more than most of us can pronounce, unless of course you're a scientist and know those. But yes, there's that TDS is made out of way more than just calcium and magnesium.
Right. And I bet the field tests really give you an idea of what that is, but probably not.
Yeah, we can send off and do a whole analysis, send it to the lab, and have it completely checked out for you.
Gotcha.
That's totally possible.
I think that you might share those fees as well.
Yeah.
I mean, keep that in your pocket, because as a standalone service, you know, just to
know.
give it to your local rep and have the full workup done. I mean, you can send it off. I've sent off to places for, gosh, I just want to say $40 or $50, you know, to a university or some such. And we have a local lab in town. But anyway, it's important, and you will be surprised. I would say short story, fluoride is for you, debatable. And not good for the plants. I mean, just probably not. That's not something they come across out in nature ever, and they don't just have much use for it. And by the way, if you're in living soil, bacteria, do not like it. Not good.
Yeah. Don't want bacteria. Don't want those unnatural chemicals in your water.
Right. Now, if I have an RO system in the house, is that going to be more cost effective than getting Culligan delivered?
So it depends. I mean, I always go ahead, Joe.
I would say, I mean, you know, we provide bottled water, and that's one of our services, and we've done that for many years. But you know, even for us, we will try and get our customers to switch over to some kind of reverse osmosis. So, you know, we have the drinking coolers in the offices, like the stereotypical drinking. We all hang around and we chat. So we have that service we do provide. But if we can find that a tap water source is available, then we would encourage them to switch over to an RO that now feeds what we call a point of use cooler, has its own purification on board. So basically you have a cooler without the bottle on top, because you can flow. I mean, those ROs go from 30 gallons a day up to, I mean, just name the number that you want, but thousands and thousands of gallons a day. So you can get one of those systems. You know, we can rent them and say, hey, you know, they rent for $35 a month, and you can get 50 gallons a day, or you can get bottled water and you can pay $9 for 5 gallons. Now, they're both great solutions, but at the end of the day, for your dollar and the bang for your buck, absolutely the RO system is going to be the way to go.
Yep. Easier on the back too.
Yeah, much easier.
Yeah, you don't jug bottles. Absolutely.
Unless going to get bottled water is your happy place. I mean, I go out to the front and bring it. I mean, I understand if that's your happy place, then we'll deliver it to you. But it'd be so much easier just to have it tapped in straight water.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of ways. You've got under the sink models, I'm sure, big wall models, high capacity models, everything in between, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a fun talking point is that, you know, traditionally, as you probably know too, because you get the RO system and everybody's, oh, sweet, I got this RO, it's going to make pure water. And then they get home and they're like, oh, crap, I didn't realize it only makes like a trickle of water that can fill up, you know, 5 gallons in about an hour. And all of a sudden they were thinking, oh, we're going to turn water on and flow forever. So, you know, you need to know these things. And these are the things that Krystal and our team would vet out before we sell you a system. Because I mean, in the industry, I'm sure that somebody can speak up out there to say, hey, I bought this system online, I put it in, and all of a sudden I got 2 gallons of water every 6 hours. What the heck's going on? So right now, Culligan's, you know, they're very innovative in the industry. They've got, you know, basically one of the first ones to come out with a tankless RO system. So finally, we have one that you can turn on, and it uses pressurizing pumps and some other fun stuff in there. But basically, you can turn it on and run a gallon a minute for as long as you want, as opposed to, hey, I got 2 gallons on tap. When it runs out, I'm scratching my head. I better go back over here and talk to the girls while we wait.
Right.
The best thing about it, though, the tankless, it tells you when your filters are bad. So you don't have to think. It turns from blue to yellow to, it's awesome.
Can I get the change it for me service?
Yes,
absolutely.
You can. Yep.
I would, and I know maybe we'll get to this too, but again, one of the things that we do, again, that most of the people in the industry don't do, is that we're there. We're coming at the beginning. We want to test your water. We want to evaluate your needs. We want to provide the equipment for you. But I stress to my people, like, if somebody purchases something from us, they're a customer for life. They need filter changes. They need consumables. They'll need service as we go down. So we don't want to sell you something and walk away. We want to provide that equipment and be your partner going forward for forever, you know?
Yeah.
And so I mean, being in the business and having our franchise in Kansas City for 70 years, our database of customers, literally, I see them go. I just sat there down with one of our girls the other day, and they're like, hey, this customer's been here for 38 years. It's because they passed away. They literally, like, we rode them all the way to the end of their life. I mean, it's awesome.
Well,
freaking awesome.
I'm sure there's some stories there.
Yes.
But we do have a question. What's the wastewater ratio? It probably differs depending on the model. Like
it does. It differs on
very much.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe. What'd you say?
Krystal,
I was gonna say, yeah. Like it depends on what model you have. It's
absolutely.
And then we
the
can figure that out.
industry average is about 50-50. And so again, but an RO membrane in general, without some recirculation, I mean, they're going to be running it at about 70-30, and not 70 for the good, 70 down the drain, 30% of the water is good. So as we get to bigger models, more options in them, more features in them, they get more efficient. So you're going to start with the worst one, running probably 1585. So we're saying we run 1 gallon of water and we squeeze 1 gallon of water, we're going to waste 85% of it, and we're going to get 15% of it that's good. So basically you're squeezing the water through a semi-permeable membrane, and that water has to be flushed down the drain. So you're taking the good stuff, flushing the bad stuff. But as we get to more efficient models, especially when we get into the commercial world, we can, you're never going to get probably more than 60% good and 40% bad, but that's the range. If you give me 1 gallon of water, in the worst case scenario, we're going to get 15% of it. Best case scenario, we're going to get 60. So there's always wastewater with reverse osmosis. That's also a good thing to mention. Is people often say, oh, I didn't know that, as they're being environmentally friendly, trying to think about how they can be more efficient. They don't realize that RO system, you go buy that one off whatever website that's made, wherever it's made, I can promise you it's going to waste 10 times more water or 8 times more water than it's actually going to produce.
Yep. And that's something, that'd probably be the one downside for me, mostly because in my situation, that wastewater would have to go with my dehumidifier water right out to light, right? I mean, there's no system there necessarily. I don't put anything down there, but it runs off onto the back of the farm. That'd be a lot of water. That'd be a lot of stuff going that way. I mean, I guess I could plant some willows or something,
right.
But
a lot of companies, especially in we do these big applications that will find ways to reuse that water. A garden, especially on a farm or something, in a smaller application, that water, it could be used again on your watering your outdoor plants or your grass, something to that sort. So it's not essentially just going to complete waste. But in order to get that pure water, you absolutely have to waste some of it.
Yep, just part of the process.
Absolutely.
But and I think that's important too. The service aspect of this, having decent rates, it's an established network. You've been out there, you've been servicing water for a long time. I like that history as a company. Sometimes I feel safe with that. I mean, a lot of times I'm do it myself, right? Which means I break a lot of stuff because I'm not an expert at anything, right? But having somebody there who can really come help me, that's a big deal to me, because it's perfectly legal for you to come into a grow room with or without that non-disclosure, that confidentiality agreement. It's not even necessary. So in case any growers out there are curious, perfectly fine. The grower has to be there. So if you want to hire these folks to come into your room, sometimes your water system's not going to be, it's going to be outside the room. Maybe we can treat it a long time before it gets to the room. There's a lot of different options here. But at any rate, even if they have to, that's perfectly legal. And I think it's a great idea. Great idea.
Yeah, and we're 24/7. So we always have somebody that's available. So that I think that's huge, and that's why we want to stay in our backyard for right now, because we want to be able to service you guys how Culligan promises the service, and we want the same thing with GrowFlow. So
yep. And you're kind of building the model, right?
Yeah. It's a partnership. We're with you guys through all of it. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
We do it. Customer retention is something we're really proud of, and that's because we have that support team behind it. Whether it's the customer service, somebody actually answers the phone when you call. You're not sent off to push 16 different buttons. Obviously phone gets busy, but most of the time somebody's going to answer the phone there, even at late at night. So as these critical customers, even now getting into the commercial side of the thing, if something happens that they, doesn't matter what time it is, they need to get back up and running. And so that's always been something that we do. We have 2 guys running 24/7 that are on call. So you have a problem at night and you need an immediate fix. You got water spraying all over, we can fix it for you.
Yep.
That's right. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. We don't like those things. Have you guys gotten into the automatic watering realm yet? We need to get you hooked up with some local folks. We set, partner with somebody, come in, and you go all the way from the source of the water all the way to the base of the plant. I think that would be sweet.
Yep.
1-2 combo. 1-2 combo.
I agree.
There's I tell Krystal, and it's funny because she and I both get giddy. It's like, hey, a part of my job and part of hers as she's growing in this business too is to be an engineer, right? Like, let me hear what you want and we can make it happen. So, there's an RO and there's some pre-treatment that goes from it or to it. And so we talked today, like there's critical components to this thing that need to happen. They have to have these pieces, but it's the next things that make it fun, right? So maybe if you're a commercial grower, or maybe you're doing it for medical, whatever the reason, you have some extra funds, but you want to do some of these automation things. The possibilities are endless. So we have, right now, even with some of our intro models have apps, like a Culligan app with it. So you can monitor your water quality. Pretty awesome stuff.
That's how we roll.
It can monitor your quality, tell you, how much water you've used, how much has gone down the drain. And then in the industrial side, we can we talked about it today. We can set parameters. We say, hey, we want our water to be within these parameters. We can put a system in there that will say, hey, if I fall out of these parameters, I can do what? Send an email, send a text, send off an alarm in the building, call the police, whatever you want to happen, we can make happen. So you want water to shut off, a lot of the if that, then this technology. So if this does this, then we can do that. So it's the possibilities are limitless. So we already, with many of the local hospitals and pharmaceuticals, if there's a problem and it falls out of range, it will automatically send us an email. So we get in the morning. If it's not an emergency, we still know before the customer knows that their water's out of range. Like, hey, what are you doing here? We're here to fix the problem because your water's falling out.
Always better whenever you know first. Always better.
Yep.
I work in IT, and I'm here to tell you, I better find it first. But I think we're going to get a little home grow testimonial from us here in a second. Krystal?
The only thing I want to say is, like Joe said, we design it to what you guys want. So I say when we test the water, we're with you to get it set up exactly how you want it set up, the way that you want it set up to be perfect. So
and how do we, is it growflow.com?
So
Where
it's
do people go?
growflowkc.com, and we're on Facebook. I'm Krystal the Pistol on Facebook. Follow me, reach out, messenger, whatever is easiest. And you can always call the Culligan office, get something set up, or my phone number. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can get that to you guys. So I don't call myself.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and don't forget too to come back by and watch the part of the show and drop whatever info you want in for people who rewatch, and some people watch the chat too to see what's what. Joe, what do you think? Was it fun tonight? You want to come back on sometime?
Yeah, fantastic. I could talk water for forever. So this is my passion. What I've been doing. It's a family business. Anytime you want to ask, I want to say Clayton and his team and you, Eric, too, for having us on here. It was an awesome opportunity to talk about our business and talk about water.
You bet. And I like to be a geek sometimes too, and I was thinking earlier about a water system I wanted to put together. I might reach out to you
Yeah,
and
for sure.
see what we can pirate together.
Yeah,
We'll
you
do
have
some,
my number. So,
do some
yeah.
skunk works. That's
Yeah.
right.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll bring on Jonathan.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And now, Joe, you've actually been at this for a while with Culligan, right?
Correct. So yeah, it's a family business. I got married probably 16 years ago, and I joined the business right after that. I didn't think that was going to be the fit, but as it became something I became interested in, and then just took it and ran with it. And so basically, it's me and my wife now that run the business. She's the big boss lady. She's the CEO, and I take care of all of our growth.
Nice.
So we have a great team behind us.
Nice, I like it, and I like how engaged you are too. I mean, Krystal is learning. I think she wants to learn to grow. I really think she does. But
I think she'll figure it out.
She's a sponge. Can you hear you? Test your mic.
Joe, can you hear me?
Got it.
Yeah.
So
that's
yes,
the guy.
pleasure to see you, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, buddy. Looking good.
Oh, thank you. You are too.
That's right. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you
So,
are.
those that don't know me, I'm Jonathan Lewis with MoGrow Solutions. We've been around the industry for now a couple of years, and we're keeping going strong. Thanks to Clayton over here with Evolution, he put Joe and I in touch, and we teamed up and came up and started GrowFlow. So they're our first corporate
and you've
sponsor.
actually got Culligan gear in your grow, is that right?
Yeah. We got some pictures of that I've got, and I actually
Oh,
brought.
got some pictures?
Yeah, I also brought my first a little bit of my first harvest that was off the Culligan as well.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. We might have to get a camera and a close up here in a minute. Can you hear him?
Jonathan's been fantastic for us. So when we got into this, like I don't have any friends that grow anymore. So. Yep, you get your butt on there, buddy.
Get your mic on.
Mic is right here.
Oh, he's got it.
Yeah, mic's on. Everything's
good?
on.
Okay, you can hear me. We're good.
All right.
Roger.
That's all right. Now, is this your first grow that you've put through?
No, this is my first grow through with the GrowFlow. Yes.
Okay. And is that an RO system?
Jonathan's got a very creative system.
Yes, I do. Okay, this is what he
Mad
said.
Science Lab.
Yeah.
The pictures never went through to James.
That's all right.
So you can kind of gauge it. I can kind of put it here and you can see what I got.
Yeah.
I'm running a custom 6-stage RO system with Culligan. I've got, as you can see here, I got a sediment blocker. I got a carbon block. I've got the AquaClear.
That's the RO membrane.
Yep, the RO and the total defense. And then next to it, I've got my 9-gallon reservoir tank. And then I have a DI tank instead of a cartridge.
Okay.
And a cation filter, or cation tank instead of a cartridge. Now, if you look at here, this chuck right here allows me to adjust my pH on the flow of it once it gets to play off the resin in the tank.
pH on the fly.
pH on the fly.
Wow. Now,
this is the Mad Science Lab part of it.
That's
fun.
crazy.
It's like we want to try stuff.
That's crazy. Do you have plans for that anywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a lot of plans.
Keep your notes. That might be a winner. So with that, you can basically, I mean, your pH RO now, boom, you hit it with your nutrients and off you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've got it down right now. I'm pHing right now about a 5.8, 5.6 to 5.8. And the only nutrients I use right now are advanced nutrients, Sensi Grow and Sensi Bloom, part A and B.
Okay.
That's it. And then I added Overdrive the last 2 weeks of my grow.
Very nice. Well, the results are good.
Yes, they are. Since we tried to send some pictures over earlier, and since those apparently messed up, I am a licensed caregiver and grower in the state of Missouri.
Set it right out here
so I just want to set this out there so people can take a look at it.
Very nice. The old blueberry.
And that is the
Pull
DJ
it back,
Short.
Jonathan, so we can see it toward you. Get another camera. There you go.
There's that.
There you go.
So this is DJ Short's blueberry.
Nice.
It was harvested on 7/18, so it was just harvested on Sunday.
Okay.
This is 4 days old.
Pretty fresh.
I think we were looking at it earlier. You can see. You can describe it for them.
Crystals. It looks good. And and a pretty simple scheme.
Yeah.
And Culligan's been flawless.
Yeah.
So you just got to do the mad scientist stuff.
Yep, we
And
had a
the
couple
Culligan
hiccups.
just works
We
for
had a
you.
couple hiccups at the beginning, but they weren't bad.
Okay.
We first started with cartridges instead of tanks on the DI and the cation.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to drop the pH low enough, so I needed more play. So we brought in the tanks instead, so I could bring it. We were at about a 6.2 consistently, which isn't bad at all. But I wanted to be more closer to a 5.8.
Sure. That's a long way to go. And in case anybody who doesn't know and is thinking about doing hydroponics, I mean, you got to have some RO water going on. You can do it otherwise, and I know people who do, but the hardness or the pH at my house is 7.8 to 8.0, somewhere in that area, and that's a long way to go. Coming from 7 down to 5.8, 6.2,
and I'm coming out the
way
tap,
different than coming from 8.
8.75.
Doesn't sound that far, but it's a whole order of magnitude, right?
I'm 8.75
Right,
at
you
the tap.
follow that pH scale, and that if you're into science, you see how far it is. Even though it sounds like 7 to 5, that distance to travel is an insane amount.
Yep, especially on either side of that 7, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
I love that. And so, what do you think? I mean, you got a winner? You keeping the grow flow?
Yes, I am, and we're actually going to switch it up a little bit. Joe and I have been talking because you mentioned automation earlier.
Yeah, this is fun. This is the mad science part, right?
So we're
Jonathan?
actually getting ready to put out. I'm switching up and going out of the tents that I'm currently running, and I'm running trays and tables, and I'm going to run 6 to 8 ports per pot, and have a newt reservoir and keep doing automatic watering and feeding throughout the day. That's our next step.
Right.
So yes, the automation is there. We have plans to do it. We're just going to trial it in the Mad Science Lab first and see how it goes.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
So we, I'm the water guy.
In the lab.
Jonathan's the weed guy. So we come together and we say, here's what you want to try and achieve. And I'm like, this is how we do it. We can put this there. He said, well, drop pH. Then we're going to do this. He says we want a little bit of flow. I'd like to automate it. Like, fantastic. This is the things outside of the box. Like I was talking with Krystal. You want to make it email you when you're getting water, then we can make it do that.
Does it do that?
Hit it from your phone.
Mine doesn't yet, but it will be on the next round.
Oh my God.
But you want to water your plants and leave town, go on a nice vacation and make sure those girls are being taken care of. Absolutely. We can get a system that can be turned on from your phone, and that, or you could even just make it so it just waters without the touch of the phone. There's timers, there's all kinds of the endless possibilities. We carry Culligan, we carry GrowFlow, but within those both brands, we bring in technology out from all over the place to help make these systems smarter.
Whoa.
And
so I
more efficient.
I could get Siri to change my water for me.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Oh man, these are the days.
Yep.
These are the days.
So yeah, we
These
we
are
wanted
the
to.
days.
I wanted to start out first, make sure I had a baseline grow.
Yeah.
With GrowFlow, and once I have that baseline now, we're ready to start adding more
Sure.
parts to it and
Sure.
seeing how far we can push this.
Yeah. Fix it till it breaks, and then stop fixing.
Now I
it.
will say what I'm growing from my grow, my medium. I'm using cocoa, perlite, worm castings, and Third Eye Organics biochar.
Okay.
In the soil mix, I'm top dressing with about a 1/4 inch of biochar as well.
Yep.
And then like I said, I'm using nothing but advanced newts, Scentsy Bloom and Scentsy Grow, Part A, B, and Overdrive.
That's pretty awesome.
Next round, I will be adding in B52 and Voodoo
Okay.
as well.
Okay. That sounds. I mean, there's a lot of organics in there. There's a lot of microbial activity. I guarantee it. Do you have to clean your lines much?
Not right now, I don't. And once we go into the other system, I won't either, because we're going to be pushing oxygen back through the lines. And so the solution will keep the lines clean as well.
Yep. Yep.
fun stuff. That's the stuff, right? It's like, hey, what do we want to try
magic.
next? You want to throw
So,
some
yeah,
oxygen
so we've
in
already
the
started
water,
planning
just
this. We
all
know where we
oxygen?
want to be, so we're just going to get
Right.
to that point now.
Right.
Just,
I
one
love
step
it.
at a time.
I love it. Well, that's my language. I'm all about the microbes and taking care of them and creating living soil. I mean, that's like as close to magic as we can get, because we don't know exactly what works and why that's so effective, and what kind of synergy there is with the plant and all that fun stuff. It's great. Even more so, it's part of the therapy, right? For
It is.
you, the water systems themselves, for Jonathan, the growing and the mad sciencing. That's part of the therapy too, right?
If I ever am stressed out in any bit, all I need to do is go down in my room and just sit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. Well, Joe, you helped to make it happen. We
Yeah,
appreciate
man, it's
you.
been fun.
Thanks for-
Jonathan's going to be getting some cool footage. I think we're going to roll some live GoPro cameras that can roll, for a whole cycle.
Yep.
And watch something come from our grow flow / Culligan water. So it's going to be, to me, as being our business, the world is whatever we want to make it, right? We want to be mad scientists and try out things that, people may do, but we don't find the results, but we want to know what that is. We want to see what it looks like in the process. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yep, that's how you figure it out. What works, what doesn't.
And also, if people ever see me out, I am also, I sell grow flow systems too. I'm one of the contracts. So if you see me out, you can talk to me as well. I can set you up a water test. If I happen to be at your house, guess what? I've got a system tester in my truck. My carrier one with me. So it's the same one that Krystal and Joe and the whole crew has.
Okay.
Yeah. Jonathan, we've hooked him up with some mad science tools, so he can go out there and take a look at your water, see where you're at right now. Someone may not know. Hey, I have these problems. Are they testing pH? Are they testing conductivity? Are they testing iron hardness? What are the things you're looking for? And come to find out, again, back to the basics of educating people is like, hey, maybe they don't know. I hear a lot of people say, I just take a 5-gallon bucket, leave it out overnight, chlorine dissipates, and that's what we go with. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a start. And then how can I bring in some knowledge and help educate you how we can get you a heck of a lot better than that?
Yep.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. And it's always good to have friends and to know people and to know who to call whenever you need something. Jonathan, thanks for coming by tonight.
Anytime. And hey, since we didn't get the images, what I'll do is when I get home tonight or in the morning, I'll go back on this live stream and I will comment with some pics.
Okay.
So they can see what they look like.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that. I stay above board. You know what I do in my other businesses, so I have no problem sharing my knowledge.
We're caregivers. That's how we roll.
I'm a caregiver, so I'm here to help as much as I can.
Yep. We look forward to talking with you more. So. We're going to come back here in the second half. Don't go away. I've got some stuff that I'm going to give away, okay, in the second half of the show. We're also going to talk a little bit about adult use. Okay, it's coming around the corner. I've recently put in some IPs, and second part of the show, it's pretty much Ask Me Anything. Let's do it.
Let's get together, Eric, sometime. Let's chat it out, buddy. I'm looking forward to it.
I want to remind all of you, are we to me? Yeah.
Now we're
good.
I'm sorry. Yep, sorry. Hey, guys. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. I want to remind you guys, tag a friend for all the giveaways. We have a lot of giveaways. A 1 free osmosis, reverse osmosis system with install at your house. It's true. It's a big prize, but we're doing it. So tag a friend for that. 2 free Flora Farms gift certificates to the dispensary. 1 free medical marijuana certification from Elevate Holistics, and then 6 free femininity tests and 2 free potency tests from Green Precision Analytics. We're going to check in with the Cannon Convict Project. Christina and Chris have a little update for us here. We're going to go to them, but don't leave. Stick around. Ask questions. Adult use conversations on the way. The first in Missouri, by the way. Coming to you. I may join Eric up there. I may have a few questions. If you guys have questions at home, please participate. Let's take a little break. See you guys on the other side.
Hey guys, Chris and Christina with the Cannon Convict Project. Hope you had a good week. We've got a short update for you this evening.
So we're going to start with just a couple updates on some of the POWs and what's going on with them. I want to start off with Trevor. I found out today that he and pretty much the rest of his entire housing unit have been put in the hole. It's a little unclear as to why everybody is in trouble, but his family seems to think it has a lot to do that everyone in that housing unit's family has been blowing up the prison to get their AC unit fixed because everyone is dying of heat in there. So we are trying to file for resubmit his pending clemency application because it's time for a renewal, and I was hoping to talk to him today. Unfortunately, that is unable to happen until he is out. So I did make a post today. If anyone could write him and let him know that we are all supporting him, we haven't forgotten about him, and that we love him, that would be wonderful. Next, I want to touch on Zach real quick. Zachary Nutt. He's in Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary, and he has been unable to get any visitors, and he's been there since January. I submitted my application for a visitor request at the beginning of February. His family did the same. He has been unable to get with his counselor, so I resubmitted those forms today to the counselor, as well as sent one to the warden. So hopefully he can get some visitation soon. He's one of the most even-keeled, mellow, level guys, and every time I talk to him, he is getting more and more and more pissed off, as everyone could understand. You're sitting there, he hasn't seen a single family member in person for almost 2 years now. This is outrageous.
Visitation is so important. You know, I mean, he needs to see some people.
So hopefully we can get some answers on that soon, because there's no reason he should be without. Next, I want to talk about Rob, who was released July 1st. He will be in the Evolution Magazine's edition in August, so keep your eye out for that. We're very excited to share some of the pictures and excitement that we enjoyed for his release.
We thank you so much, community, for coming together and raising the funds for him. We were able to put together $1,327 and some change. That's going to be, you know, super helpful for whatever he needs it for. And so thank you again so much, community.
Thank you. Absolutely. Next, I want to touch on our declaratory judgment, where we are suing the state for the probation and parole issues, since our patients are getting violated, and some of them are being sanctioned and sent back to jail or prison due to testing positive for THC while they're on supervision as medical recognized patients here in the state. The judge just recused himself from, the circuit court judge just recused himself from our case just 2 days ago. So currently our case is sitting without a judge, but the judge did indicate that we need to file for an appeal, which we are doing, and we're very excited about. This is exactly what we expected and wanted to happen, so we can get it up to a higher court. So there was an article written by a UK journalist who we've been in contact with. His name is Nico, and he's with Filter Magazine. That was just released today. Check out our website and read that article. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll keep you posted as more updates become available to us.
And thank you, Seth Ferrante, for putting us in contact with him and those journalists, and thanks for everything you do. We would not have been able to make that connection without you, so thanks for bringing that up so we could shed light on this situation.
Yes, and Seth Ferrante himself was a 21-year veteran of the war on drugs, and he was in federal custody for those 21 years, and he had cannabis and LSD, so, and he's been a great advocate since he's been released.
So we all want to reach out to any dispensaries or any different groups out there, any different head shops or any stores that might potentially be interested in carrying the Can of Convict Project information cards. You can pass them out. At your front counter. You can leave them in your lobby. Just we're trying to spread awareness as much as we can, and trying to find out all the people that are sitting in jail. So if we have those cards sitting on your at your dispensary, we can definitely reach a whole lot more people. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to us. Either reach out to me personally, or reach out to Christina personally, or email us at canofconvict@gmail.com, or message us on one of our Facebook or Instagram.
Email is best.
Yeah, email is definitely best. But we've got a number of events coming up here in the next few weeks. We've got MoCan BizCon coming up August 11th and 12th. Come visit us. Come stop by our table. Say hi. We'll have some of the Can of Convicts there. We also have Power Fest coming up on August 20th through 22nd. Come check us out. We'll have some representatives at the table, so come say hi.
Columbia, Missouri.
That'll be in Columbia, Missouri. Coming up after that, we have the Grow Trade Fest at the Lodge of the Four Seasons in Lake Ozark, Missouri. There's still booths available for that, so reach out to Jennifer Rouse or reach out to the Grow Trade Fest on Facebook or Instagram and get you a booth, or get you some tickets or get your room. But and after that, or that's August 27th, 28th, and then after that we have MoCan Fam Fest, and that's September 16th through 19th. So. Yeah, come check us out. Come visit us.
We'd love to see everybody. We will be on the Evolution series, live series next week. I'm really excited about that, really nervous about that. I hate being on camera, but I will be surrounded by a bunch of amazing people. Chris and I will. We're going to have Rob and Seth there with us for the first half, and then for the second half, I'm hoping to finish up the show with Dolores and Jeff Mazansky. They have a bunch of wonderful content to add to this conversation. Everything they say is so relevant and important, and I couldn't imagine a better way to finish out the show. So please tune in. We're really excited about it. We get to talk to you on a much more intimate level that is with a little bit more to say than these quick 5-6 minute commercial breaks that we do. So we really look forward to that. We want to remind everyone that this is a really stressful community, sometimes a really stressful time in life for everyone just in general, and to keep loving everyone. There's so much negativity that we see here and there, and we just want everyone to support one another and love one another, and let's just keep moving forward together united so that we can actually make some real change here in Missouri.
Yeah, we don't know what people are going through in their personal lives. You know, there's lots of different things that people are suffering that we don't know about. So just be kind and be loving. But, you know, guys, we'll see you next week. That's the end of our update tonight. Love you guys.
Okay.
The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association has been our longest-running show sponsor, while providing quality education over many topics in partnership with area cannabis professionals. MCIA is dedicated to a free cannabis market to create supplies and prices that are patient-friendly, with initiatives to support adult-use cannabis, to protect home growers' rights, and expand the caregiving program. Go to mocia.org to learn about memberships, to learn about their certified caregiving program, and learn how to get involved. Thank you, MCIA, for being a show sponsor.
Getting a medical marijuana patient recommendation just got easier with Elevate Holistics. Using HIPAA-compliant telemedicine software, Elevate Holistics enables patients like you to receive medical marijuana recommendations from the comfort of their own homes. Here's how it works. First, visit elevate-holistics.com to book your appointment using our online schedule. Then complete the intake forms in our confirmation email. Finally, visit with the doctor using the link in your confirmation email. It's that simple. Book an appointment today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Evolution Live series. We got Eric McSwain over here, MCIA show, talking about some water.
Little clay action.
Hey,
across the
Clay's here.
table. Got
Clay's
some
here
clay.
too.
You don't want
Hey.
clay in your water. That's not good.
No,
Don't do
it's
that.
very toxic.
Only the showers at home. And the river.
And the river.
And
Turns
the
out
river.
that's when you need the water the most.
That's
Is on the river.
That's
Gotta
so
hydrate.
true. That's such a good experience. Yeah, and here in the second half of the show, I'm willing to talk IP.
And this is the
Last
first time.
week-
This is the first time, right? This is the first time that you guys have talked about this ever, right? So far,
I don't
well,
know.
on a live show.
I got blew up by reporters
Okay.
and radio.
So it's already been on news stations.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Even back home, people are like, "Wait, what?" So, it's fine. It's
Well,
fine.
For our viewers, at least, this is the first time.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah,
this is my first time.
First time we talked about it. And MCIA has been a big part in pushing that forward and helping to start Fair Access Missouri, fairaccessmo.com.
So is that a PAC?
Political Action Committee. Okay, that's right.
Yeah. So
that's
we want to talk about these things that are happening, and we want to talk about it in a way that everybody can understand.
Right.
So let's start with what's a PAC.
And you know, we got to talk about the process.
Yeah.
We got to talk about, this is an educational spot, right? So you got to know how it all works. Fortunately, in Missouri, we do have an initiative petition program, though. I've said it on the show before, and I mean it. This is a good thing because in some other states, only the legislature can bring bills up for vote and put issues on the ballot, and that sort of thing. Our friends right across the street in Kansas. So, but with an initiative petition, that allows a citizen of the state of Missouri to put forward potential changes, you know, statutes, just legislation, right? And then it's got to go through a process, like we put ours up. It's got to have real specific formatting, right? So made some mistakes that we shouldn't have made on the first couple drafts that went up, for anybody who noticed.
So
had some rejections.
So the state can reject the original.
They're like, we can't
bill
assume
from the
we
PAC.
know what you're talking about or what you want to do here. You're missing some underlines and some brackets, and there, you know, you gotta be very specific about periods and commas, and
that's all
you know,
just grammatical
formatting,
bill
formatting.
formats. Okay.
That's the basics.
They don't get to decide the lingo.
No.
Okay.
Now the Attorney General will write the ballot language, right, to try to make it somewhat impartial and factual. There's a whole mythos of philosophies around how that ballot language works for you or against you. This is why we put up multiple variations.
So
We're
somebody
like, well,
from the
let's
state
see.
rewrites it for you?
Not the IP, not the initiative petition.
All right.
They write a little short form. Like when you go into a ballot and you're like, would you like to amend the Missouri Constitution to so on and so forth, yes or no?
Okay.
That's the ballot language, right? And that's what the Attorney General's going to write. There's only so much space that he can use to do it. We do have up multiple versions. You know, they get to about the same thing. But anyway, there's public comment periods too. And it's posted, so go comment on it.
Where is this posted at?
sos.mo.gov. And then you're going to look for election filings and postings.
Is this where all the other bills will go to?
That's where they all go. That's where they all go. And there is another IP up related to legalization right now. So
it's already.
So ours was not the first IP.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell it. It's the first one that got advertised. There's another one that's been up there a little while. But so whenever you're reading these things, though, remember, for example, ours wants to make a change to the current medical program, Article 14.
Okay.
Right.
I know that.
So we have to put square brackets around things we want to get rid of in that language, right? So whenever you're reading through it, if there's a square bracket, just forget about it. That's what we're changing. We're getting rid of that.
I'm good.
If it's an underline, it's new stuff.
All right, got you. Okay, so
right?
Anything in brackets is old stuff you want out of it.
Right.
So you're retroactively, with the adult use, taking care of things you see as an issue in the medical program.
Yep. Improving it. And then if the underlined stuff's sort of what's changed or new. Right? So as you're reading it, that's what you want to key in on, is the brackets and the underlines, because if you've read it even once or twice, that's probably plenty, like make your eyes go crossed. So that's what you're reading for, is the changes in the first part, in section 2. Whenever you get down to the next section.
How many sections are there?
Just a couple.
Okay.
Just a couple, easy now. And the other one's for adult use, right? The second section is for adult use.
Okay.
And that's all brand new, so there won't be any crazy brackets and underlines and all that sort of stuff.
So just 2 sections, one's sort of retro, and the other one's like, here's what's up next?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. And there's a few things we want to do in the medical program. We'd like to start a compassionate care program, right? Put it in writing that's a thing, and put some very basics around that and how that might work.
This is for low income or disabled.
What the rule says is that recipients of the beneficiaries of that program can be decided on by a dispensary, however they see fit, whatever rules they want to put to that.
So promotions are allowed and discounts?
Even better. We're talking compassionate care. So in our writing, it says you have to give it away.
Oh, wow. You have to give it away under certain circumstances.
Have to give it away if they meet the criteria for your program.
That's ballsy.
Give it away.
I like it.
Well, it's compassionate care.
Yeah.
If they can't afford it, and there are people out here who can't afford it. So we need to create it. I mean, dispensaries don't have to participate.
Optional.
I think the cool kids will.
I think once one
cool
does.
Kids will. They'll participate. But that also provides an outlet for caregivers. It's the one other place, an at-home caregiver that's a cultivator.
Okay.
If they have excess, right now you have to destroy it.
It's pretty awful.
Right? Yeah. But in this situation, you'll be able to give or sell into. Dispensaries could buy it from you, but it has to go to compassionate care.
Wow. Are there any other states that
compassionate care, not on the shelf at the dispensary.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Compassionate care.
Are there any other states that have done this before?
Not exactly like that.
No.
We think it's a pretty good move. We think it's going to be good for patients. A lot of that, if you're a home grower, or companies can do it too, by the way, not just caregivers, right?
Sure.
So companies can give to the compassionate care programs. There's a lot of things, and then from there, a manufacturer could produce RSO for a compassionate care program from those things that were given to them. So the whole supply chain can participate in these programs, including our caregivers. So I think that's going to be great. There's a lot of folks that I know of that really struggling. One of my patients, I give it to them because otherwise they wouldn't have it. Fortunately for me, I have another patient who's willing to pay a little more to help offset those costs, because it's not free for me to grow. But anyway, so I'm passionate about that one. Now we did submit those 4 versions. Okay. And then there's a question as to why. They're different variations of the same theme.
Well, the question, just to clarify, says why are they accepting comments on all 4?
Okay. So there are steps in the process. When they first get it, they go ahead and post it for comments. Right. So there's a 14-day period, I think, where all it'll do is sit there and gather comments. People can read it, make comments, whatever you want to say about it. That's part of the process. In the background, they check the formatting. So if they find something, they can still reject it. But then it goes to another step. They'll take it away from public comments. It'll go to another step. Finance has to see it.
Can I ask a quick question? Yeah. On that first stage of comments, is that just for that grammatical part of it?
No, it's public comment.
Okay.
So, anybody can log on, read it, and go to the dedicated section for leaving the comments for that particular petition. And
so what will they do with those comments? Is that for you guys or for
now
them?
I'm starting to speak at the edge of my knowledge.
Okay.
We got a person who knows all those details that I usually ask, but I think that they keep it with the document throughout the process.
Okay.
So that people can refer to it, other administrators can refer to it. And then I think it comes back again later for another round of public comment. It's about a 65, 70-day process, something like that, couple of months to get all the way through. And I already mentioned the Attorney General as one of those steps in there. And that's sort of what you'll see, at least partially on the website, as those status changes. Now, the one you're looking for on that website is called Cleared to Circulate. That's a big milestone. That means it's been assigned its ballot language, and that's the ballot language it's going to get. And you can go collect signatures for it.
Has anything been cleared to circulate?
Not any of ours.
Or anything at all?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's other ones out there that are already circulating?
Not just our IPs, but other IPs. There's probably a dozen of them up there.
But that's already collecting signatures, I guess.
Yeah, for all kinds of different issues.
Oh, but for just adult use.
Not adult use.
Nothing's been, there's no signatures coming for adult use as of right now.
One is cleared to circulate.
One is cleared to circulate?
Yep.
And yours is on the way?
And ours is right behind.
Got it.
Yep, that's a fact. So you'll start to see that. You'll start to see folks collecting signatures. Quiz them. Use the opportunity, right? Quiz them. What the heck is in here, right? Let's talk about it. If you like it, sign it. If you don't. It's all good.
And so they'll have all the lingo there in front of you for that particular bill. They have to show you the entire thing. They can't just be like, sign this thing here.
It's there. If you want to look through it, you sure can.
Okay.
Yep.
But what happens?
There are specific things you have to show, but
Okay.
You know, you got to collect 170,000 signatures. You know, that's a lot, and then they got to be validated. You know, you got to be a registered voter. You got to actually, you know, be alive. I guess that's a thing. So anyway, there's definitely a process, and if you miss it, you could miss it by 100 signatures if you're not verified. That costs money.
When do you need to have the signatures by to get it on the ballot?
Let's see here. It's on the November 2022 ballot, or destined for it. So I think it's the beginning of May 22. Yeah. So one of the first few days in May in 2022 is when that's got to be turned in. A lot of times you'll see a big rush of signature collection between as soon as it warms up and May 3rd, you know, or the day before, right? That's usually what it happens, but we'll see. We'd like to get started a little earlier. I mean, we're going to have some good weather after we get cleared to circulate. So, yeah, and the question comes in about signature collection. That could be a huge cost. Huge cost. It works in a couple different ways. You can go get companies. You can go out and do it all on your own. Originally, it was meant to be done all on your own, right? But there are companies who can help provide that service. And what I mean is they make sure they have somebody standing at all these particular locations at all times to get all the signatures, and then they can that costs money to verify those signatures once that's in as well. Granted, now if you're grassroots and you want to help out, this is going to be a great way to do it, though, because, if you value those signatures at like $4 a piece, every signature you go and gather on your own saves your campaign $4 a pop. Yeah. Right? And this has got to be a good signature. You got to ask them some questions, try to get a good signature. They'll get validated later. But that you're right, that can be a sizable expense in these campaigns. We're talking multi-million dollars. In some case, just for the signature gathering itself. It's not cheap, not cheap. And that's actually one of the biggest, things that people say, against what we're trying to do is, well, where are you going to get the money to pull off this campaign? And you're right. You got to go talk to people, and, we're still working on it. We're going to be working on it. Everybody else is working on it right now. But here's an interesting fact for you, right? So let's just say we're talking a few $1,000,000 to just run a shoestring around the outside into the end zone for this, right? You're still talking, so $3 million. If every patient, registered Missouri medical patient in the state gave $30, we'd be on the ballot. Good to go. $30. Every registered patient in Missouri, all 100,000 of you. That's $3 million, right?
Yeah.
I mean, math. I didn't know there'd be math on this show. All
right,
I
know.
Aboard.
I know.
But listen here, because adult use is going to serve usually about 25% of the state. All right, usually about 25% of the state is going to regularly use or in some way consume cannabis. Those are all potential consumers. So these people should be interested in a smart adult use regulation, in this case, amendment to the Constitution passing. And so if you are interested, now we're talking 1.5 million people. So what, $2 a piece? Why can't we get the money? Like, why isn't this going to work? So I would say go read and be ready to give. FairAccessMO.com.
There you go.
That's where you go donate. FairAccessMO.com. If you want to help us out in that way. It's expensive.
Can I ask this next question?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a great question. I wish I would have thought of this one. Thank you for asking this. Are you allowed to demonstrate in opposition of signature collections in public places? You go out and say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, sign this one instead.
There are certain rules that govern that. Like, you got to keep your distance and things like that. But if it's in a public space, you can say your piece as well as another piece. And, political action committee is basically a mechanism to make sure that the money you collect and spend towards promoting a campaign is legitimate, right? A lot of it is, there better not be a bunch of dirty money being laundered through a campaign or something, right?
It's not a nonprofit, it's a lobbyist type.
Political action committee.
It's a difference, so you can't.
Very special thing,
yeah. You got to be careful with how you get the money with all that.
Yeah, you bet. And how you spend it. You just can't put it in your own pocket. When the campaign's over, you got to do stuff with it. So there's a lot that goes on in the background to make sure, we're watching our P's and Q's. And it's not cheap. It's not easy. There's a lot of going into it. So remember that as you see people talking. we'll all have heated debates and that sort of thing, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are really just trying to do what's best, usually for them. But hopefully there are going to be those, and I believe we are those who want to do best for the common interest and not self-interest, right?
And just so I can say my side, just from the evolution standpoint, because there's lots of people that think we're connected to organizations, and we're very adamant about being non-biased to the entire industry. We're an educational informational magazine, and we want to offer a platform for people to bring their ideas or their opinions about things, and it's an open platform to everyone. So it's important for us to, and particularly for me, to ride this with a very graceful mindset of being able to ask questions that are open-ended and let people offer those answers that projects their own ideas without me particularly taking because it's a touchy situation. I can already tell you that a lot of our advertisers are going to be a part of another one, right? Because it's going to be in their best interest. And MCIA has this one, and we want to cover all grounds, and without necessarily saying that this is the right or wrong thing to do. And luckily we have guys like you to guide us through that. And the most important part of the whole situation is teaching people how to read it properly.
Yep. Yeah, that's hugely important. That's why I sort of started in with that. Because we think at the end of the day, if a regular person get in and just read it, then the choice will be clear, right? They've got nothing to hide. There are no ulterior motives. What you see is what you get. Maybe not perfect, fine, but we think it's really darn good, So, but the education piece is important. That's also why MCI is helping with this. This isn't a campaign. I'm not promoting what we're doing necessarily, but I'm definitely promoting people to go out and read it. Go out and get yourself educated.
Find what's best for you.
Read it through. We're having an event this weekend. Mention the show at the door, and we're going to give out some free tickets. Not to everybody, but
what's the event about?
First 10.
So what's going to happen at the event?
We're going hot in Gladstone tomorrow around noon. We're going to have an event about Saturday. Sorry, missed my days. Saturday at noon in Gladstone at the community center. We're going to be talking about the campaign stuff. So we're going to take what I'm talking about in this 45 minutes segment, and we're going to blow that up and talk about it over hours. Yeah. And we're, people who know what's what and why we put what words where are going to be there. So if you want to come out and talk to them, then feel free. We're going to have a few vendors set up, and we're going to get together and just have a good time and talk about what makes us tick. So holler at us.
Is there going to be more of these events along the way before May?
Yep. MCIA.com. The event's up there. You can purchase tickets there. Use the code MCIA05. I'll say it again later to get some promos right there online. And it's going to be all about campaigns, all about we've got our drafter who wrote the petition there. She's going to be able to answer a lot of technical questions. We're really going to be able to get into the weeds with it. So
if you have questions about the bill that we're talking about right now, it's this Saturday. And what time does it start?
Noon.
So this Saturday noon, and the location one more time.
Gladstone Community
Center.
Yep.
So if you have questions about it, if you don't want to have to sit down and read the whole thing, or maybe you should read the whole thing before you go so you can get your questions ready. To learn how to read this thing, that's what you guys are going to be teaching. Like, here's what these particular words mean. When you get into these, it's almost like a legal document, right?
It is.
It's very, very legal document, and sometimes they get hard to read or hard to understand. So it's important to have these events where you can sit down and all right, which part did you not understand? Well, let me show you how we determine what this means here.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep, that's exactly right. Education all day. Do we have a question there, Clay?
Yeah. It says, what are your thoughts on what would happen to the medical industry if Missouri goes recreational?
Okay, so thoughts on what will happen to medical if Missouri goes recreational. So if you're the language that we put together, I can't tell you otherwise, the language we put together will make sure that the medical program isn't hurt. Okay, number one, first and foremost, we're going to change some things that we think are going to make it better. Okay, but nothing in the language should make it worse. Now, there are other states have gotten language in there, maybe special interest group, that sort of thing has gotten language in there to do something. There's a number of things that could mess up the medical side of the house. And the idea is drive them to the adult side where there's more taxes, maybe higher price, things like that. It could be nefarious, but with us, we think the medical program would be stronger. Now, technically speaking, there will probably be less medical patients, because I'm pretty sure the trend is in states that if nothing else changes other than adult use is added, some folks they already know how to medicate, they don't need to talk to a doctor regularly, maybe the symptoms are somewhat mild and they'll choose to self-medicate, on the adult use side. Real similar products across the board. So those will drop, but the existing medical cultivators, if the medical side's not meeting the needs, they'll be able to sell into the adult use side, right? Our language includes protections, so they can't sell everything in the adult use side. They have to keep some back to be able to sell to the medical patients, but you don't have two different counters, right?
Yeah.
You should not have to have two different counters and two different seed to sale tracking systems and two different facilities and all this other nonsense.
Well,
no, it's one facility, a medical license can sell into the adult use side, vice versa. A dispensary, you just grab a license for the adult use side, you can sell both now. Same products, same cash wrap, same salespeople, same business name. The only difference is at the register. If you have a valid medical ID, you get the medical rates, the medical taxes.
That's what I was going to ask. Is like,
if you're adult over 21, you just get the different.
Let's go back to
pricing.
To the other states who have crossed that gap already. What is the advantage? What are the advantages in those states for the medical side that have recreational? So it's the taxes, right? Is it better quality necessarily that you can get as a medical card patient? Or is that part of something that's, in my mind, well, even if you're in a state where you have both options, it's better to get your card because you can get better quality, cheaper prices, lower taxes. Is that not?
Yeah, but it's not just about adult use and medical, okay? First of all, consumers, whether you're a patient or just an adult use consumer, you want two things. Or even if you're a traditional market consumer, right, outside the regulated space, because that exists, by the way, and it's partially our fault. Need to fix it. Two things they're looking for, and that's price and quality. Okay? Yeah. So if your price is high, it better be fire. It better be the best stuff you ever had. Okay?
Blast me to the moon, socks off the
come on,
mantle.
Earth control. So, but if otherwise, if the price is lower, then maybe it's okay if the quality's a little bit lower. And what's going to drive that? What's going to change that? Market influences, supply and demand, one. That could change that. But that's out of control of everybody except for the people buying, right? So if you're willing to buy and you can afford it, go buy it. No problem with that. But if you allow a more open market model where a lot of people can get into the space and compete, then now you're forcing people to come down in price and up in quality.
That's more time
because
in the product.
These are the people who are going to live and win after 2 or 3 years that the market's going, right? It's the people who can produce the price and the quality.
Yeah.
Granted, it's going to be tough to get in and make a living at the business, but it's going to be great for patients, okay? And it's going to be really good for the adult use consumer as well. Because we're not, and then, if the barrier of entry is low enough, say $25 and a good plan, and you can rent a space and start growing in it legally, okay, that's a pretty low barrier, right? So now people can really get in and try to make it, and a lot of people won't. And that is okay, because guess what? There is no limit on the number of companies that provide the services that Culligan do. Right? There are no limit on these companies.
Yeah.
One can pop up every other day. You just need a business license from Kansas City or wherever you're at, and a few other little things, and get registered with the state and pay your taxes, and that's that. Well, and guess what? Folks like Culligan and others have had to rise to the top, pun intended, right? Rise to the top and be the best and provide that good service, and that's how they succeed. That's how it works.
Customer service.
That's how it works. There's no incentive right now. In the cannabis space in limited markets, right? Same way with prohibition states. People, don't have bills. Prohibition is just another form of production control. It's the ultimate form of production control. Well, it's limited licenses. It's just another failed production control. It's failed. It's math. It's happened all over the United States. You put these limits on the market, and the market doesn't behave right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't behave right. Economists will tell you, I don't know, it's hard to explain. But, we let the market sort it out, dude. I mean, sell picks and shovels. Chris at Happy Rock wishes there was some kind of limit on hydro shops. Jeez.
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
popping up all over the place, right?
Close them all but mine.
That's right. Close.
Monopoly the dirt. You kind of have, though.
Wow. He's over here. He's got dirt on his fingernails. I love that guy. He's been working.
Hydro man.
Okay, so I'm going to go back a question. I think there was a question about what's going to change in the medical program. And then we've got another one on screen. Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
So, not much in a negative way.
What's
Okay.
going to make it advantageous
So-
for them to want to? Because the other one's going to be probably advantageous to them. Because I think, and I won't speak too much into it because we haven't had them on the show yet. But I believe the other one is going to give the current license winners the first shot at the next round of licenses. So it's nice that you're doing something to kind of bring them in a way, or help them out with what's going on with their current problems.
Look, there's a lot of current operators who did not get all their licenses.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And I know some of them that would make really good verticals. They'd make really great verticals. They could do it. And with our language, we're going to take the caps off the medical program and take out the silly scoring program, right? So lift those caps. And if you want another medical license, just get one, buddy. Not a problem.
Wow.
No problem, right? It's open market. It's free market, fair market, okay? It's fair access to the market. And, if you're Walmart and you want to get in the business,
Already are in Arkansas,
that's part of the
I think.
game. It's part of the game.
They got most of those licenses.
So, and I don't mean to demonize Walmart, right? I like my Walmart folks for their own purposes, but that's a common analogy. But so really, there's some small things we could talk about on the medical side. Another one I want to talk about probably has to do with the number of patients a caregiver can have. We're going to take it all the way up to 10. Okay,
Wow.
10, because
It's a legitimate business now, right?
Then a person can charge reasonable rates, because the going rate's going to be low. All you caregivers, I hate to tell you, the going rate on an ounce and a pound is going to be low. So you can't be charging your patients much. They'll just go to the dispensary.
Well, it's not what you're charging; it's the contract, man.
Well, charge for your services. You're charging for your services, not sell weed. Crazy
Allegedly.
kids, darn kids. But now, if you can have 10 patients, low rate on the little bit of medicine that they need, you should be able to make a modest living. I don't think
It's a hobby.
nobody's going to get rich off 10 patients.
Pay the gas.
I think it makes a lot of sense. We're going to fix rules like, who cares about plant count? The big guys just get to go square footage. So here's your square feet. Do whatever you want. I don't care if you go 20.
That's in the lingo.
Well, it's not in the lingo.
Okay.
There's no plant counts in the lingo. It's
Neither here nor
25 square feet. What can you do in a 5x5? That's your flowering area.
How tall?
And then you got another 5x5 for another 25 square feet for veg.
You got 14-foot ceilings. What are we
I
talking about?
don't care what you got. It's canopy space. Do your thing. Do your thing, right? But in that same space, right now, it gets a little sketchy. I want to be honest. When you go outside, the 6 plant count outside could make some lot of monsters. Yeah. Okay, it's still 25 square feet outside.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry.
Can your neighbors see it, or do we have to build a big fence?
We'll
work on that.
I think we left that not in the language, but we'll let the regulators come up with it, because we can change that later. Yeah. We can fight for that to be changed. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But those are probably the 2 biggest things, because then you can start, if you want to grow, because your methodology is to grow 10 plants in that 5x5 space, because it's more of a sea of green sort of thing, you can start 20 seeds, male, female. Get rid of all the males, now you're down to 10 in your space. You know what I mean?
But if
who
everybody's doing
cares
that, the
about...
only thing I would say, the first thing that came to my mind is like, what if my neighbor's not as tidy on his plants as I am?
That's turf wars. Get out of the
Take it out with
apartment.
your neighbor, all right?
Get out of the
Just
apartment, okay? You got to get a place.
Teach your neighbor first.
It's true. So just trying to make it more flexible, make more sense. You know, the inspectors from the state, if they ever need to come to a home grow, they already think in terms of square foot at the commercial facilities. I think it makes sense for them as well. It allows you flexibility, and at the end of the day, there's still a possession limit. Okay, there's still going to be a possession limit. There's an Easter egg there. If you can, I'll buy you a ticket. If you can tell me what the new possession limit is for a cultivator. But anyway,
wait, where can you read it? We'll talk about it.
SOS.mo.gov. Come on. And so that's at the end of the day, that's what's what. You know, in 25 square feet, a new grower can grow an ounce a square foot. That's 25 ounces every 90 days. That's going to do most everybody. You know, and if you up your game, you can go 50 ounces every 90 days. I mean, that should be fine for a person. But you know, you got 10 patients. It's 50 square foot a person. It's a decent sized little grow for your patients, you know?
I suck at math, but it sounds like a lot. Sounds like a good thing for people.
Yeah, it is. It is. We think it is. It'll get rid of some of the rules that make it hokey. It's not advantageous for me to have a third patient.
Yeah.
Even though I can have 3, because there's a funky rule about you can only have yourself, because I'm a patient too, and 2 other patients in one room. Where's this guy go? Oh, I got to have a whole another room for him and his veg plants. So that's 4 total rooms.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
It's a little cost prohibitive.
Whew. Don't get me started. But anyway, that's some good stuff on the medical side. There's some other Easter eggs in there, but I'll make you do your homework.
Well, what I really love is all of that. I mean, I do love here's my next question though. What about, is there anything with expungements or reciprocation for the past that's war on drugs bull?
Yeah, I'm a little bit medicated, and I don't have my notes in front of me, so I forget what the expungement is in terms of the exact rules. You'll have to look at it. I'll get better at this. I'll remember more.
With it for now.
But there is an expungement included. It's not an automatic expungement. Okay, that would put a lot of pressure on the state to get it done, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But this is just me talking. I don't think states that are efficient at that sort of thing.
Nobody's.
Okay, they're not efficient at that sort of thing.
Trying to.
You know who is efficient at that? Some people who really want to get it done. Okay,
is there
so we put in a provision to move some tax money and make it available via grant to folks who are making people aware of their right to expunge, and for people who are willing to educate and able to educate people for reentry programs, and other education programs to get those folks back into society. And depending on what's expunged and other positions, there's going to be money set aside for low-income entrepreneur programs so that they could actually get out of prison, get their stuff wiped, make a transition, and open up a business.
Yeah.
That, you know, as long as you don't have the disqualifying felonies, which aren't too different than what we're currently seeing, and you're in there for a non-violent offense of, you know, quarter-pound possession or something weird, you could literally be able to get out, get expunged, and start a business. $2,500, well-written plan, and hopefully one of these agencies will apply for a grant and do some data mining and let all these prisoners know and help them fill out their form, and off we go and put it through the legal system.
Yeah, what's nice about
free the prisoners.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea.
Yeah,
and I, you know, personally, I can't speak into too much of which bill I would support, but I wouldn't support one necessarily that didn't have something that's acknowledging that fact that needs to happen. And what's great about Kansas City is that Mayor Lucas has already created an online platform for people to go online and expunge their own records for that same thing without a lawyer to pay.
City charges.
That's city charges. That's just in Kansas City itself.
Yep. And our folks would get, you know, grants if applied through that program, so that they can help notify. They could put up advertisements to help people understand what their options are, billboards. They could hire companies to go mine state data if they get access to it, and that's possible.
Because they don't know.
To identify those people, because you can't, there's no magic mirror to go look at the, you know, the prison population. You got to get special access to do that, and through a grant and describing how you're going to go about that and secure the data, completely possible, and it would be a good use of that revenue.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's the biggest challenge, I think, for groups like Canon Convict Project or Last Prisoner Project is
Lots of
they're
projects.
just going with whatever anybody feeds them. Like, oh, here's an auntie or an uncle or a mother or a father that said, oh, here's my son. This guy's been in here for, like Robert Franklin. Tune in next week. Same thing. They don't have an easy, like a list to pull up. And there's nothing out there that has created that yet. So that's a very important way of going about it.
Yeah, and there won't be, but the idea here is to create opportunities, right? I don't necessarily want the government to solve these problems. I don't want it to cost the state of money and maybe taxpayer money to make all this happen. Let private companies who are passionate about this sort of thing get in and do it, because they're the ones that are going to make it happen. And then they're not a permanent fixture in the government, so they can go away when the work is done, okay, and shift their focus into something else that's meaningful. I think it only makes sense, I think it makes sense.
You save the government $30K a year a man.
Well, it's
minimum.
that's-
Those are part-timers.
$30 grand a year. How's it?
well, by the way, Krystal
Oh.
just said you're going to save the
gotcha.
government 30 grand a year, but they're actually making money off that. So the prison system is actually its own business. So.
Well, that too.
Prison
That's
system,
another
the prison
argument.
system.
Right, yeah.
But the next question, this is kind of the what's going to decipher the two big bills that people are going to have to choose from. There might be more than that, but the next question says, will the group with the most money win, and can anything be done to combat the more of the same initiative?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done if you have big old piles of money. You can really mess with an opponent on the campaign trail, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure it'll have to come to that, personally. Granted, I got a rosy view of the world sometimes, but I
I
don't.
live there too.
Doesn't necessarily have to get dirty. I mean, the people are going to ultimately choose, and if it's not now, it's later. I mean, it's going to happen. And if they whatever, as long as people know what they're voting for, I'm okay. Check whatever box that you want. I was in the Marine Corps, disabled vet, love my vets, and I fought for, your ability to go make whatever choice that you wanted to make.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for your service.
not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Salute.
You bet. You bet.
So freedom of choices. It's nice to have that freedom of market. That's what
Yep.
we're talking about.
Yep.
And the people to educate themselves on the options that they have in front of them.
That's right. That's right.
And one more question here. It says, who will regulate cannabis with your IP?
So we've got those responsibilities moving to alcohol and tobacco. Okay. This is a division who's been doing that sort of thing for a very long time.
Alcohol and tobacco
Alcohol and tobacco.
instead of DHSS. So would that remove medical from their control too?
Yeah.
It would?
So there's a couple variations on that theme, but generally that probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I think it might be a good idea to have a commission
With a deal
that
with
sits
COVID,
out there
I mean-
too, of industry folks and a specific body that helps them guide them through the regulation making and upkeep process. That's been done elsewhere with success, but then we're not creating this brand new government structure again, for this thing. The folks who are already working for the section for medical marijuana regulation can probably just slide over, a little retooling, be fine. I don't think it'll shake up the medical program much. And again, it's a lot like alcohol. I mean, you got to pick one. You got to pick a regulation model, and either we can pick all models that don't work because there's no really good ones out there, or you can try something that's just a little bit new and fresh. And I think this particular take will be a good move, and because I want my government to worry about regulating, make sure everybody's doing things in a safe manner that's not going to hurt folks, but we don't need to worry about how the business is run. As long as that product gets to a patient in an ethical manner, and is free of defect, I let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
Regulate the market and let it go.
I think that's well, let me ask you this: how many other states have used their Department of Health and Senior Services to
Pop quiz.
manage that side
Pop
of things?
quiz.
You-
I
you
think
know,
it's all over the board.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think it's mattered. A lot of them recently, there seems to be a trend to move towards its own control board, like a dedicated control board.
The reason I ask that is because it seems like, I already understand and know that it must be difficult to handle both the COVID situation, which is they're responsible for Missouri's health and welfare with COVID, on top of initiating a brand new industry.
Yep.
That's got to be a lot.
It is. It's got to be. In addition to that, too, I think folks should pay attention when they read their IPs that about the taxes. Okay, this is going to be important. Missouri, historically, we don't like high taxes. In fact,
Is that just Missouri?
well, no, I mean, some states, I mean, if you live in, anyway, I'm not going to bring up the state, but if you're a medical patient and live in Illinois and have a choice, why are you there? They're charging you 35% tax. That's a lot. Wow, that's a lot of tax. 4% here, outstanding. We like to see something like that. Adult use, maybe 7.5%.
Nice.
That's the same as what some counties in the state are charging for alcohol. So, that's pretty okay.
That's
pretty
30%
okay.
on medical in Illinois?
In Illinois, yeah.
Or rec?
A little less on medical.
Okay.
Okay, but 30 on adult use. 35 depending, it's THC thing, I think. But it's a lot. Well,
is a lot.
Guess what? Grandpappy, he wants you to allow him to pass a bill at the federal level, right? You heard about this in the last couple of weeks. There's a bill at the federal level, and it's not too bad. I mean, the bill's really not too bad, but assume the position because 25% taxes,
After
pal.
4 years.
It goes to 25 after 4 years?
Yeah,
I'm getting
it
excited.
rates up like,
Oh, so it's like
10
we'll
to
give you-
25.
10 to 25.
10 to 20. That's
Yeah,
that's a whole. That's not like a little fillet. That is a whole pound of flesh. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Man,
Coming
that's-
and getting it all. In Illinois, it's going to be
That's
what,
the only-
50% taxes.
Doubled up.
I mean, now you're already buying a $350 ounce.
No, but that's the whole reason why the slow roll of the federal government's
my
happening. They want to make sure they
goodness.
get their money.
I mean, I'd still vote yes to do more good things in the short term,
I think
and
so.
there'd be time to fight against the tax part of it, and try to make them see the truth. A lot of good in the short term. A lot of what we talked about tonight is in that bill with the social reforms and some of the social policies. So I'd have to vote yes, and then be like, oh, taxes, because that's regulation and taxes. Those are the two things that drive up the cost, right? And pretty soon, everybody's back in the traditional market. And I don't mind about the traditional market, but they should be able to pay taxes too and report it as income and be a part of, Anyway, so yeah, it's be careful on the taxes. This is
that's
important.
the only reason why I would pay an extra tax is to get a buddy out of jail, and that's how they're going to do it.
Yep,
Somebody's gotta
but
pay
we're
for
talking
it.
about a pittance
Won't be the
compared
government.
to 50%. No. We got to protect ourselves against that. Keep it fair. I mean, it's fair access once again. Keep it fair all the way around. What other questions you guys got? We got tickets. If you go mention the live show in Gladstone at the community center tomorrow, we'll be giving away some free tickets for the first 10 people who show up and mention the show.
tomorrow,
Just a free.
Saturday.
I'm sorry, Saturday at noon.
Saturday.
Saturday. Somebody post a correction. I'm out of control.
Yeah, this is Thursday. It's all right. I've been on a float trip. It's like another.
Not by
I
the
don't even
time
know
I get
days right
home.
now. It's all just wise, a-wise.
It is a pothole.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. That was a pothole. Again.
But we also have giveaways, you guys. Just to remind you guys, sort of winding down here. So you can always tag a friend for 2 free gift cards to Flora Farms Dispensary. Also 6 free femininity tests and 2 free potency tests from Green Precision Analytics. We also have the amazing gift of a free reverse osmosis system with install by our friends here at Culligan Water. We talked about all the importance of that earlier. And then, of course, a free certification from Elevate Holistics. So tag a friend for that. What else do you want? Is there anything else? I know that
There's
a
much
lot to
going
cover.
on, man. There's
a
so
lot to
much
cover in the
going
bill.
on. I've been super busy. I've been talking to the media a lot lately.
Has there been any? Can we go some what stations can we go see these interviews at?
So far, Kansas City, St. Louis, Rolla, Joplin, Springfield,
Channel 41, 9.
St. Louis
Oakley.
Post, Kansas City Star, KMOZ in Columbia, KCRG in Joplin. Radio. It's all over the place. Keep your ears open.
Yeah, it's going to be coming more and stronger, and as we get closer to May is the deadline. as we get closer to May, I'm sure that you guys will.
I don't know. I think
we'll figure out the date.
I'm just going to keep making a racket until everybody's tired of hearing about it.
It doesn't matter what you guys think of me. The next question. This is a great question, by the way. For the average Joe, Culligan Water, Joe Shum, CEO, plug. How can the average person help the cause of of this bill or whatever bill they choose to be a part of? What can they do as the average layman to support what they believe in is the right bill?
Right. Step one, and something you can do now and forever, every day, is educate those around you. Okay? Take what you know, take what you learned, send them a link to this video, send them a link to, the other video and the other video. Learn, get to know what's in front of you, educate your friends, because at the end of the day, adult use, no matter what IP that passes, there's going to need to be an acceptance of cannabis. Okay, we've got to change hearts and minds. You don't even have to work these days. It's silly. You just throw down a whole stack of scientific papers. You throw down some documentation. I mean, the information is out there if anybody cares to look. So educate people first and foremost. But two, if you want to get involved with a particular campaign, you got to make contact with them. Okay. There's a couple things that you could do. You could actually be a grassroots signature gatherer. There's certain steps you got to take to get that done, certain timing. You'll get told where to go, or maybe you've got some ideas about where to go to gather signatures, and there's a procedure that you follow. That's really good. You don't even have to be a people person. You just got to be able to speak clearly about what you're asking people to sign, that sort of thing. That can be a lot of fun. An average person can make an average donation. There's nothing wrong with that if there's some mechanism set up to do that. We've got some folks who are pledging, $10 a month from now until next October, right? Cool, awesome. fairaccessmo.com. That's where you would go to do that. We also have a newsletter. We send out emails periodically. You don't have to make a donation to get the email. You just go to our website, fairaccessmo.com, sign up to get that email, create a login. That's fine. You'll start getting emails. We're trying not to drown everybody with everything at this point. We want to get the information out initially. We want to let that information be shared, flow around. We'll be back soon to talk about it. We're going to take our show on the road for the conferences around Springfield and Columbia and St. Louis, and we got to get around and see everybody, make it available so that you can come in and talk to us about it. And then at the end of the day, it's going to be getting out the vote, bringing out the friendly votes. And I know for sure it can get done because a ridiculous number of people came out and voted for medical. And now that they're seeing it's doing some actual good, we don't have drugs all over the place. We don't have, I don't know. I looked at Ricky when I said drugs all over the place. I don't even know why. It's not this demon. I think many, there's a lot of, I'm from a very small town, and people see me on the news now and go, oh yeah, it's that Eric, that's fine, because it's not the boogeyman, guys. And that's that education piece, right? Educate, because when it comes time to get to the polls, you got to get everybody out there and vote for the best one, because there's going to be multiple up there.
Yeah. So when can people start signing this initiative? When is that going to be an option?
So maybe never. If the state just keeps rejection. I mean, we're at the behest of the state at this point. We're pretty sure we'll be able to get through that process, though. So I'm thinking September, October.
Okay.
October.
All right.
I mean, we really, if it's going to be, once it's cleared to circulate, you can.
Yeah.
So if there's still good weather left and there's still events running and that sort of thing, we'll get it out there. The Attorney General, one of the primary things he's going to look for during that process as he writes the language is constitutionality. That's a big one. Formatting is a good reason to get rejected earlier, but the other one's usually some problem with constitutionality or something because Missouri is a one-issue state. So when you put in an IP, it has to deal with a certain thing. So if that certain thing overlaps with a different part of the Constitution elsewhere, and maybe works against it or is unconstitutional based on this other language, then all of a sudden there's an issue, it's unconstitutional, you're getting rejected. Those are probably the top two. Civil action could take place. Somebody could sue and say, nope, that's obviously not constitutional, Mr. AG. You didn't read that right. So people can actually sue that the language is unconstitutional. But games we play. Milton Bradley got all kind of dirty games too.
To keep you from collecting signatures, or to keep it
off, stop the whole process
from becoming collecting signatures.
Stop the whole process. Shut her down, boys. Shut her down. Maybe it's not clear to circulate. We gotta go talk about this. Lots of games. There are lots of games.
Man,
I don't want to play them, man. I don't want to play them.
There's a reason.
I don't want to play them. Let's sort it out at the ballot, okay?
Yeah. I would be
sort
president,
it out at the
but
ballot.
I hate politics.
But
so
that's
what I
the way it
tell
is.
myself.
That's the way it is, and that's the sort of thing that'll turn a relatively inexpensive campaign into a very expensive campaign.
Yeah.
So, but it takes money on both sides.
Yeah.
For that to happen. So
it's very educating for me. I hope our viewers can get a grasp of the political side of this whole thing.
Get out there and give feedback to me, Fair Access Mo, anybody else who's got an IP or whatever, give them feedback too. That's going to be a big part of this going forward, is give it directly to those organizations. I think this is messed up. I think this. I think that. This is big. Go do that.
Yeah. That's amazing. I had no idea really what's involved with this whole process. So you educated me tonight. So thank you for that. I hope
I've learned a lot in the last 12 months.
So
man.
You knew none of this before this most recent endeavor?
Not before.
Like
I started this. I started my homework in I think it was October 2019.
Okay.
So that was right after I'd submitted my application and before any licenses were out. I was already pushing for an open market. I was still hoping at the time that DHSS would be like, we'll just let all you give it a try, and then we'll just take away licenses and not issue more as you fail. That'd make a whole lot of sense. That'd find its own equilibrium.
We don't know
but no.
first time, but here's what's up.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Well, do you anything else you want to add? I don't know what time it is. I'm normally over there watching the time.
Yeah,
so.
I think we better let folks go.
All right. Well, hey, you guys, thanks so much for watching at home. We have lots more to talk about. I barely even covered the tip of the surface of what's about to happen with adult use initiatives.
Half day Saturday.
You can dive full head first this Saturday at 12.
Right. Food, beer, and wine.
There's food, beer, and wine.
Yeah.
And questions are unlimited. You can ask all of them, any of them. They'll help you understand the language. It's legal mumbo jumbo. I'm confused too. I'm just trying to figure shit out over here.
I just made all that up. I don't know.
So it's important to go to these things to get a deeper understanding of what you're actually signing on these petitions that are coming up. And we hopefully can keep having more of these shows to explain to you so you know a little bit more on what's up. And thanks to our production crew, James, Level Up AV, Cat King Films over here, killing it as well. Thanks Happy Rock Farms, Chris Dalton, always killing it. We also have Ricky over here, Ricky Starling, Missouri Infiltrator. And of course, Culligan Water.
Krystal,
you guys,
Krystal
has the best water in the world. So does Joe. There's reasons why you guys can have that for your plants, for your family, for yourself at home. You can also get a free reverse osmosis system. You just have to tag a friend. You got like 10 more seconds. Flora Farms, thanks for sponsoring. MCIA, of course. Elevate Holistics. Thank all of you. Next week, we're going to be doing our favorite show to do when people get out of jail for the things you shouldn't do at home. At least that was the way it was. Robert Franklin, he got out of prison. We had a party for him. We're gonna show a video of all that. He's out. We're gonna celebrate the freedom of that happening, and hopefully by watching that and sharing that will create more of those shows. So tune in next week with Canon Comic Project. Thanks for all your hard work to make that show happen. Also, Green Life, and then Culligan Water, Green Precision Analytics. Thank all of you. We will see you next week. Peace.
Jody, baby, I'm coming home.